When I first met my wife, I was totally blown away. This is the time that time slows down for a man. When you see that woman that just takes your breath away. And as you know, in every relationship, they call this a honeymoon phase in the beginning, where it's like nothing matters but her. Nothing matters but the woman in front of you. And you just want to spend all your time with this person, discovering them and creating a relationship with them. And as in every relationship, that honeymoon phase ends, and now you really got to spend time with this person and really figure out if you like this person. Well, 4 kids later, and together for nearly 18 years, takes a lot of investment, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of putting aside either her goals or your goals, and really figuring out how do we move together in this world. And you realize after your kids grow up and your kids go start their own lives, if you're able to stay together, that you realize that all you have is this person. And I went into my relationship not really knowing much about being a healthy husband, being a healthy partner, or even a good friend, because a lot of the lack that I had growing up, and the lack of maturity, the lack of not growing in this area of relationships. I was this man who was taught not to cry growing up, not to show emotions, how to be a man. And that was taught to me by my uncles and the men in my life. And a lot of the men in my life, I watched them go from relationship to relationship. And that was my teachings. And then also my father figures, manly figures, was hip hop. Back in the day, the 90s hip hop, early 2000s. And you could just look back at a lot of those songs on how they talked about women and how they treated women and how they labeled women and how they portrayed women. And being a young man without a steady father figure, this becomes your teaching and paradigm of the world of how you look at women. And then you bring that in your relationships. And you realize why your relationships ain't working, why you have trust issues, why you're selfish, and why you think about yourself first, and really you're protecting yourself because you have this kind of flawed idea about women. And when you end up meeting a real one that loves you and one that treats you good and one that, this just solid for you, can get into a self-sabotage mode where you sabotage good things. And through my relationship with my wife, I learned so many things that keep causing me to grow. She has a really solid outlook on relationships, really solid outlook on how to treat a person and how to be a friend. And I haven't really figured out how to reciprocate that in other areas of my life. I excel, like in income and making sure the bills are paid and making sure that we have shelter and being that type of man. But when it comes to relationship part, where I struggle not only with her but with friends and with my children and with other people that come into my life because of the lack that I had in my own life. And I learned a lot, and I wanted to teach you one thing that really helped me over the last little bit going through things with my wife. And that is, this is not disposable. Very simple, right? This is not disposable. We have a lot on the line. We have a family, we have kids, we have dreams, we have years and years put into this relationship, that this can't just be disposable. And here's my thing, when things get tough and things get hard, I didn't realize that my first instinct was to run, was to be like, you know what, okay, maybe this is not working. Maybe all your sadness and all your pain is stemming from me as a man, as a partner. Maybe I instead of working on myself, instead of fighting for this, maybe I should run and remove myself from the situation. That way you could find your happiness, especially if I feel like I'm the cause of all the tears, all the heartache. And my wife's more, we're going to get through this. We got to figure this out. The first option is not to run. The first option is to figure out, okay, this is where we're at. How do we get new information, a new paradigm on how to become better? Because our kids are worth it. Our family is worth it. And a lot of times I can't read between those lines. I can't figure that out. And being maybe a scared man when it comes to the emotional part, it's easier to just run. And she just taught me over having these instincts to look back at everything, that this is not disposable. You can't just run from this. This is such an important thing, not only for us as a relationship, but for our kids and the future. And imagine if that's how I were to take on anything that got a little bit of tough, was just to run. And I don't do that on the things that I excel at. I failed at a lot of things, like investing in business and starting my business, my professional career, taking our family out of poverty into greater heights. Have never been from thinking that my dreams and goals were disposable, that I could just run from it, and that I had to get up and try to get better and figure out how to get better, and that way I could be better for my family. And so this is for all the men that haven't confronted all their emotions, and to try strengthen their emotional part of themselves, that not everything, you can't just run from things, that it's not disposable. There's some things that are disposable, like really relationships that do not benefit you, dreams and or distractions like watching Netflix all the time. That habit could be disposable. Not reading a book that will inspire you and give you new ideas. There's a lot of things that are disposable, like eating too much sugar is not healthy for you, or not working out. That plan is disposable. But there's things that are just non-negotiable. And for me, realizing this has really gave me a better outlook on my relationship, that things are not just disposable, especially when it gets really hard. So hopefully this message has got you at the right time when things are getting tough and all you could think about is running, and maybe removing yourself from the situation would make things easier. You got to figure out, is the thing that I'm fighting for, is it worth it? Not only for you, but for your kids and the well-being of your family. Figure that out, and hopefully you realize that it's not disposable and that you shouldn't run, that you put up your dukes and you fight for this because it's important. Thank you so much. Follow for more.